used to go around saying that little things didn't matter much. So I would wake up in the morning and not make my bed because it's fine. I was gonna sleep in it later. I would make it up when I was ready for bed. I would, say that I was gonna read something for the day, read a book, and put it off because I was like, you know what? I can just do this tomorrow. I can just do this later. I would respond to texts and calls when I was supposed to be having uninterrupted me time or just solitude time in general because it was fine and I would just respond to them quickly because these were small things and they didn't matter. Right? Wrong. So wrong. And I've learned the hard way. The smallest things that we do and don't do reflect our beliefs about ourselves. They reflect our mindset. They reflect our values. And how we honestly, guys, like how you do one thing is how you do everything. It doesn't matter how small or big it is. If I am someone who continuously is doing something half assed, when the big things come, I'm gonna probably do those half assed too. Our actions can seem trivial and unimportant, but they definitely reflect deeper beliefs that we might have about ourselves that we might not even be conscious of. It's hard. It's so hard. It's hard to believe now that, there was a time where I would shower and like barely lotion or moisturize if I even did. Um, and at the time I was like, okay, it doesn't really matter that much. Like I'm showered, I'm clean, like it doesn't matter. I don't like my leg can be slightly dry. I'm not going anywhere because I would be just like going to bed or something. And at the time I was kind of like, okay, it's not that serious. Like it really isn't the end of the world. But to me now, looking back, it's like, okay, clearly I had a lack of self care and, didn't really care for my body in the way that I should have been. I would also, leave my room really messy because I could just clean it later. I could just clean it later. And, looking back again, that is showing me that me leaving my room messy was showing me that I didn't really care if my space was cluttered. I didn't really care how my things were handled. And as a result, my mind was cluttered and I wouldn't even understand why. It was definitely because of the mess that I was leaving everywhere. Even, oh my gosh, especially, and this one I am still working on, but leaving my makeup on after a long night out because it's not that serious and I'll just wash my face in the morning. No, because it's too late by the morning and I've already broken out. And obviously it's not just because of that, but these little things that showed me, like a lack of discipline. Like, and I'm finding that how I do these small little things, like even putting my laundry away immediately after it's dirty, right? Like just immediately putting it into the laundry bin, do it right away. Or like let's say I eat something, I use one dish and one fork, just wash it right away. Because I find that, the habit of procrastination was running rampant in my life when I would continuously do these things. Showing up as your best self every day means being consistent with your actions, no matter how big or small they are. I like to look at it also in the sense of, people who are selective with who they want to be kind with or give attention to. So I don't know if you've ever experienced these types of people, and I haven't really in my life, but I've heard stories from friends and stuff. But people that are rude to wait staff or are rude to people that can't do anything for them, right? Like they'll show a whole bunch of respect and interest in people that can maybe potentially do something for them or might have like status or might be more important, quotes, because obviously like no one's more important than anybody, but or people that would have wealth, and they would show them, I think, more kindness and just more respect in general, as opposed to somebody else, maybe a person who's like taking their order when they're ordering food. If you are only kind to a select few people in certain circumstances, are you actually a nice person? You're not. Yeah, I'm sorry to break it to you, you're not. And I like to look at my life that way with everything that I do. If I'm going to be lackadaisy with my morning routine, with my self care routine, with how I maintain my relationships, I'm going to be lackadaisy with everything else. I had this when I was younger. Oh my gosh. And I really did. My mom kind of tried to instill this in me. When I was younger, my mom would give me these like worksheets to do like grammar and spelling on just to like practice my writing, before everything was on a laptop. And when I would be writing things out, sometimes I would use pen. Don't know why, I just would. Um, I would just scratch it out. Like if I made a mistake and I was writing a sentence, I would just scratch out the word where I made a mistake and keep going. And my mom would literally be like, no. rewrite it. And I would be like, no, I don't, like, it's just one word. It's not that serious. Like, do I really have to rewrite all of this? And she was like, yes. And at the time, I didn't understand it. And I was very frustrated because to me, it was like, okay, like, this is just extra time wasted now when I could have been finished. But I'm seeing now that also was instilling a form of discipline in me. If I'm going to do something, do it correctly. Even if it's something small like that. Like, don't leave visible messes, visible mistakes for everybody to see. Like, I shouldn't be handing in work that's kind of, crappy and not properly done. I'm telling you, when you start slacking off, it does become your default mode. What I have found in my life is that it's the smallest things that have made the biggest difference. For example, I track my spending weekly and I find that I now have a better grip on just what I'm spending my money on. I'm more intentional with how I spend my money. For example, like I'm working on it. I'm not buying bubble tea 3 times a week, anymore because I'm just taking the time to actually look at my spending and making sure that I'm not just like, okay, it's not that serious. It's just bubble tea. It is that serious. Setting aside uninterrupted alone time has made me more intentional with how I spend my time in general. If I know that, okay, if I'm spending me time uninterrupted and I'm not answering anyone's calls or texts during that time and I stick to that, I'm going to build more discipline around that as well. My discipline has built so much because I started back just last year going to the gym when I didn't feel like it. It's this really is the smallest things. Instead of me waking up one day and being like, okay, you know what, it's raining today, it's gloomy, I don't want to go. Half the time I don't. Okay, I do now, but at the time, half the time, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go, but I was forcing myself to because I was building that muscle and that habit of discipline. And now I find I'm so much more disciplined with so many other things. Like my bed is made whenever I wake up in the morning. I am forcing myself weekly to do these YouTube videos because I find that just working the muscle of discipline in other areas of my life has allowed me to be disciplined in things that I find are really important. And I think that's how you have to look at everything in your life. If you have negative self-talk and you want to call yourself an idiot or call yourself stupid, eventually are you not just going to start believing those things? Is that not what's going to be internally your default thought and your default way of thinking and how you see yourself? Yeah, so and that's why I make sure I spend time with myself. I am, not speaking to myself in any type of way that's disrespectful or unkind because the more I practice that, the more used to it I'm going to get, the more accustomed I'm going to get to it. And I think the more it's just going to become an actual habit that I want no parts of. If you are somebody that doesn't want to procrastinate, stop procrastinating on small things. Even if it's the littlest thing like, okay, I said today I'm going to post a picture at 3 p.m. And you're like, you know what? 3 p.m. comes, you don't want to do it. It's the littlest things. Or even, I'm so bad with this one, getting gas, filling up my gas tank. I'll wait until I literally have 5 kilometers of gas left into my tank. And I'm like, okay, I could get gas, maybe when I'm at like 100 kilometers left. But I'm like, you know what? I'll do it later. Stop, 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 stop. Like, literally stop with the procrastinating because I find when I let myself, be very lackadaisy in certain areas of my life, I let myself do that with everything else. Honestly, guys, soon you start to realize that the smallest habits do compound and how you do your small things is going to impact how you do your big things, and then it's going to show you results of yourself and you might not be happy with those results. Now, to start being more aware of this, and what I find I have done is I just encourage you all to journal. We love journaling, and I'm going to mention it in every video if I can, but I will use prompts like, where in my life am I operating on autopilot? You can say, what areas do I cut corners in? And how does that show up elsewhere, right? Where or what energy do I bring into different areas of my life, into my work life, into my relationships, into my self care? I want you to actually think about these things and see, okay, are there any areas in your life where you are, slacking off a little bit? Could you be just better at the smaller things in life and see how those actually impact the bigger things in your life? It's hard to make a shift when you don't know if there's an issue first, but also second, like you don't know what the issue is and how to tackle it. But first, you're gonna have to address your life and just be a little more self-aware and conscious of just how you're operating. And once you do know that, you can figure out where we can improve. That's how I like to look at it, and it's not a bad thing. Don't look at it as like you're a terrible person. You don't know how to operate properly. You're slacking off on everything. No, we're human, but I think it's really important to be self-aware, and in order to do that, journaling, I think, is one of the best ways you can figure out what let's just like what's going on in your life. As I've been saying, everything we do is a reflection of ourselves in every aspect, in every area of our lives. And if every day you are practicing being someone who's lazy, being someone who's unkind, being someone who half asses things or doesn't pay attention to detail, it'll show up in everything else. Anyways, my loves, that's it for today. Let me know if you guys, have any tips with just how to, do better with the smaller things in life, so that, it can reflect in the larger things you have going on. But I love you all. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you next week. Bye.